Okay, friends, we are going to start learning about kings and queens. Look at this fancy building. Can you believe that this was actually someone's house? Well, it's not just any house, it's a palace. This palace used to belong to the Queen of France. What do you think it looks like inside? It must be nice if it was built for a queen. A king or a queen is a man or woman who rules at a particular area of land and the people who live there. This area of land is called a kingdom. There used to be many, many kingdoms in the world. Today, however, there aren't as many kingdoms or kings and queens as there used to be. It's good to be king. That's an old saying, and if you look at this king, whose name is King Charles II of England, you begin to get the idea of why this saying is true. If you walked into a palace in England 300 years ago and saw this person, you wouldn't have any trouble guessing he was the king. First of all, take a look at his feet. They're resting on a pillow, and you can bet that one of the servants put the pillow there for him so he would be as comfortable as possible. As the most important and powerful people in the kingdom, kings and queens always got the best of everything. The best house, the best clothing, the best food. Kings did not have to say please and thank you. They didn't even have to dress themselves. They had servants do that for them. Pretty much everything a king or a queen used, touched, or owned was called royal. The soft, fluffy robes King Charles wore were the royal robes. The cup he drank from was called the royal cup. Even the pillow under his feet was called the royal foot pillow. And if it was royal, that meant only one thing. The king or the queen or someone in the royal family owned it. And they were the only ones allowed to touch it. King Charles is holding two things in this picture. In one hand, he's holding a royal scepter, and in the other, he is holding the royal orb. Let me get it closer. These are not tools or weapons or anything like that. They're ceremonial objects or things that the king wore or held just to remind people that he was in charge. The hat he's wearing is called a crown, which is no ordinary hat. Crowns are usually made out of some kind of precious metal like gold or silver and decorated with fancy jewels. Here's a close-up picture of a crown. It's made of gold and loaded with fancy pearls and other jewels. A hat like this would not be good for keeping the sun out of your eyes, and it wouldn't be very good at keeping your head warm, but if you were wearing it, it meant that you were the king or queen, the ruler of a kingdom. A few hundred years ago, it would have been nice to be a king or queen ruling your very own kingdom, making all the rules and laws that people had to follow. But it would have also been very difficult. Kings and queens had big responsibilities. Every day, people came to them to ask for money or advice, and every day, they had to make important decisions about things that were happening in the kingdom. This picture shows a famous king named Charlemagne, who ruled several kingdoms in Europe. Look at his fancy chair. The king's chair was called a throne, and, as you might imagine, only the king was allowed to sit there. Also notice that his throne was raised up on a platform. This was so that he would appear tall and important, even when he was sitting down. What's that in his hand? Charlemagne is holding a scepter, and there's an orb next to his throne. Over the next couple weeks, we will learn more about kingdoms, kings, queens, and everything having to do with royalty. We learned about the word royal. Royal describes anything that is owned by a king or a queen. I'm going to say a word. You tell me if it's royal or if it's not royal. The king's throne. Royal. My coat. Not royal. The king's crown. Or the queen's crown, sorry. Royal. The prince's dog. Royal. And my necklace. Not royal, right? So a king or a queen owns things and they are called royal. All right, talk to you tomorrow.